Seth,
All right, buddy.
repeat after me.
Okay.
I
I
I believe.
I believe.
I believe that.
I believe that.
I believe that we.
I believe that we.
I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win.
All right.
I guess I believe that we just fucking won. Or Shane Van Gisbergen just fucking won.
I think he did. I think
Yeah,
he did. I think that's why we're here.
that is exactly why you're here. Welcome to a special edition of not Big Motor Small Blade. This is the rundown from Down Unda, following the Xfinity race at Portland that Shane Van Gisbergen just fucking won, dude. Like, oh man, dude, I don't know about you those last couple laps, dude, but like I was I mean, you know me, my hands shake, but I was sitting there like watching those last two laps, just gnawing at the bars of my enclosure, just hoping to God he could pull this off. But
I kind of figured. I kind of laughed at when he took the lead. I was just like, oh yeah, this would be the one he won, right? Not Coda. It'd be this one.
yeah. Well, and I wrote this down to talk about. It is funny that he dominated Coda and wasn't able to pull it off, but it also like this was a very Shane Van Gisbergen win, or I'll put it a very Shane Van Gisbergen drive, because he did some wild shit at the beginning of the day. He needed some coaching there. They had to calm him down, but when it came time to do it, he pulled it off. I mean, have we not been saying all year? If you give him the full race, his best will be at the end. And I mean, you don't get better than the best.
No, it's true. I was about to disagree with you because it didn't seem like a very Shane Van Gisbergen drive. I mean, I hadn't seen him drive off the track like that before. Well, at least in NASCAR.
Yeah.
And he did that. I don't even remember where he got the left front damage, to be completely honest. I just kind of noticed it all of a sudden. I don't remember where it actually came from. But
he got it at some point. Got some right front damage at one point too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
that was on one of the restarts, I think.
Yeah. I think Shane, he knows that he let one get away at Coda. Let one get away is a strong Austin Hill. Obligatory fuck Austin Hill.
Fuck Austin Hill.
But I think he knows that like that was an opportunity, right? And I think, at the beginning of the day, he was just driving a little bit. Even in qualifying, he it seemed like he overdrove it just a little bit. And I think that was I don't know. I think he knew he had the car, because I mean he was fast all day. Like,
yeah.
And it was restarts plagued him a lot, so he was having to get aggressive there because he would lose 3-4 spots on the restart. And so like, yeah, I mean it was good to see, because I was worried at some point. I was like, all right, he probably doesn't have it today, like, he's probably made too many mistakes. But I mean, you literally, I was as optimistic as I am about Shane, as much as we talk him up, I had accepted defeat coming to that final restart. I mean, I had, because he restarts had just been his Achilles heel all day long, and I'll never question him again.
Yeah, it was funny. What was funny early in the race to me was he was clearly doing that Shane Van Gisbergen thing where he sits back and isn't going to push the car too hard, because what's the point? And then right before the end of the stage, he just goes and he takes the lead. And then they made that baffling pit call at the beginning, or at the end of the stage, right before the stage end.
Why was that baffling to you?
Because they were the only one that did it. So they gave up a stage win for what amounted to nothing.
Wait, yeah, hang on. That just, I was at work during the first part of the, that doesn't make sense. Dude, when he did that, I was like, okay, makes sense. He's not going for points. I was thinking this was cup. Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah. Because initially it didn't when he pulled off, he was far enough ahead. I was like, okay, this makes sense. And then I realized no one else pulled off. And I was like, oh yeah. And well, first I was confused because I forgot that I thought they didn't have competitive pit stops at Portland. And then they're like, oh, it's a 63-second minimum. I was like, yeah, no shit. No one's going to take that under green if you don't absolutely have to. So
I
the
have to text
97. Yeah.
text our boy Jeremy over at College Racing and ask him
Why
what the
did
hell that
you
pit call.
specifically
Why
call
did
Shane in?
You know, it's funny. He was at He wasn't at Portland this year. Wait, was he? I'll have to text him. Actually, I'll text him right now and see if he was at Portland today. But continue.
But anyway, so it doesn't matter ultimately that he didn't. Well, it could matter later down the road, but ultimately right now it doesn't matter that much. But I don't know.
Yeah. And to explain it to our New Zealand viewers, if you're not familiar, if Shane would have gotten the stage win there, that's obviously a playoff point towards his total at the end of or going into the playoffs, and now that he's won a race, he's in the playoffs. And so it could come down to Shane needs 1 point to make it through to the next round, and you could kind of look back at Portland and this pit call that might it might be the difference, but hopefully it doesn't come down to that. We're focusing on the positives today, obviously. Dude, so that final restart, I mean, it as much Jimmy jacking around as it seemed like he did on restarts today. I mean, he nailed the final one, and it was almost like he had planned it that way. I mean, did it not look like that to you?
Plan to only get the last restart right, or
I mean, dude, I don't fucking know.
I don't know. I think the plan was to go up there and pass Allgaier under green.
Yeah.
Because that's what he was about to do.
Yeah.
And when the caution came out, I was like, damn, he's not going to win now.
Yeah. I don't know. You know what? It reminded me of a Kevin Harvick win.
A lot of them, yes.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it reminded me of just, we're going to be right here. And when it's time to pull off, when it's time to be clutch, you can count on me to do it.
Well, and that's what Shane's done, not for a win necessarily in the Xfinity Series yet, but that's what he's done the entire time he's been in the Xfinity Series. Literally, like every race that he hasn't blown up, he's done this. He hasn't pushed it, or in most of these races, he's been learning the track.
Yeah.
But even a race like Darlington, where he had zero practice, no qualifying, he did the same thing and had a good run at the end too. So it's just kind of his MO, and it doesn't surprise me anymore. What really surprises me is that TV hasn't caught on yet, or maybe just being ignorant. But yeah, they went on and on and on about, oh, Cole Custer's getting close to Shane Van Gisbergen, and then 2 laps later, I think Shane took the lead. Or he was going for the lead or whatever. It was just like, yeah, guys, have you not watched? Have you used your eyes? You haven't watched at all. This is what he does, man.
I mean, we are looking at Shane through a telescope, essentially. Like, I mean,
yeah, I guess we are
compared to everybody else. But I mean, like I said, I mean, it reminds me of a Kevin Harvick, and just his consistency. 1, 2. I thought about this, and it's obvious. It's we've been talking about it, but it's more like we just got to state it. Other than Vegas, and I guess he went a lap down at Talladega at the end.
Yeah, but he ran out of gas. I don't.
Yeah,
it's irrelevant.
He's completed every lap. That's incredible.
It really is.
That is incredible.
I mean, the fact that he went to tracks like Darlington and Dover, and well, I expected him to do good at Martinsville, but even then, like, Martinsville can be super challenging for a new guy, whether or not he has the accolades for it or not, just because how crazy it can get. And yeah, like you're saying, he hasn't put a foot wrong enough to end up a lap down at any point.
Yeah, I mean, even
when he was a lap down, was a lap down at some point at Dover, but
anyway. I mean, he fought hard and drove up there and put himself in position, and it's just that is the man. And here he is, like, I can't remember if I said this during our post or off-season show that we did about him. Um, but I thought the Xfinity car would suit his driving style, but I also thought it'd be a steeper learning curve, specifically on the road courses. Obviously Xfinity is a lower level of talent, or I guess, well, not lower level of talent, but the talent isn't as deep as it is
And
in the
it's
Cup
not
Series.
refined. It's not
Yeah,
refined.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I still thought I wouldn't say shocked, but I was impressed that he took to an Xfinity car on a road course so fast. Like, I mean, out the gate, he win practice at Coda? Like, I mean,
Yeah, pretty
yeah.
sure.
And then today, I mean, he was never outside the top 7 during a run. And most of the time, he wasn't outside the top 2 or 3. Like, it's incredible. And AJ Allmendinger's back there, fighting for a top 10. I think he got a top 5 by the end of it, but like,
Yeah.
it just he's him, dude. He's him.
In Colleague's defense, though, they did have all 3 of their guys in the top 7
They
today, I
did.
think.
Yeah.
So
Give a call to them, dude.
they did
Yeah.
bring a lot better stuff this week for
And
sure.
it's a shame the 600 went the way it did because I listened to Chris Rice, the team president at College Racing. He was on another podcast that you guys can go find, and I'm not going to plug. But he was talking about how disappointed he was about the finish to the 600 because he felt like they had figured something out with those Cup cars.
Yeah.
And not to jump ahead, but that makes me excited for Sonoma because Shane he didn't really get a fair shake. I felt at Coda he had some mechanical problems, and it
Lost a
ran.
gear, right?
Yeah, lost the gear,
Yeah.
ran, and the race ran green. He didn't get too many opportunities to gain a chunk of track position there. But it makes me excited for Sonoma because one, he tested at Sonoma. Obviously, he's not running the Cup car; he's going to be spotting, but he tested at Sonoma in the Cup car, so he's going to have so many laps already at Sonoma, which is something he hasn't had. I mean, I guess he had laps at Coda, but not that configuration of Coda. I don't believe he's ever been to Portland. I don't know when that would have happened.
I doubt it.
Um,
Yeah.
but Sonoma, now he's got so many laps and it's new pavement. It's going to be kind of a level playing field for a lot of guys. He could go back to back.
Entirely possible.
Yeah. But not to jump that far ahead. But so I want to bring this up because obviously we are, compared to our viewers and all of you out there from New Zealand and Australia, watch our stuff. Thank you again for one. And thank you so much for commenting and interacting with us. It really does mean a lot. Um, we are relatively new to Shane Van Gisbergen. Chicago Street Race, I remember we were both at the house in Chicago the night before the street race, and we both kind of chuckled like, "Oh, that Shane guy, qualified third or whatever." Wouldn't it be crazy if he won?
Well,
And then,
didn't he like wasn't he top 3 in practice too? And we
yeah,
said that, yeah, we
yeah,
said
I
that
think,
before qualifying too, I think. Or no,
yeah,
didn't he win practice?
I don't know if he won practice. I feel like
Okay.
I remember that. Anyway, the point was we jokingly said, wouldn't it be funny if he won? And then, the whole race, I don't know about you. I kind of paid a little bit of attention to him because it was notable that how good he was doing. Um, but towards the end of that race, I mean, I was hooked, dude. I was sold on this dude. Like it came very naturally, and this is coming just from a fan perspective. This came very naturally pulling for Shane Van Gisbergen because it's fun watching him race.
Yeah.
And I mean, Chicago, it came down to the last few laps, and I am literally, hanging over the railing in turn 6 at Chicago,
Can confirm.
screaming for this dude. Like, I mean, I was taking, I was just, I don't know. It, like I said, it just felt natural to pull for him. And, for me personally, that was the highlight of my 2023. I was a Kevin Harvick fan, Shane Van Gisbergen's management manager, or the management company he's under, KHI Management. I was a Kevin Harvick fan for 20 years, and that was his final season. Daniel Suarez, that's mi amigo, that's my buddy. I love Alex Bowman to death. Those are, the three guys I really, have latched on to. And obviously last year was rough. None of them won races. And that Shane Van Gisbergen win was the highlight of my 2023. And it's funny because obviously I've said on this podcast, Daniel Suarez is my favorite driver. Like I said, mi amigo. That's the good homie, That's our buddy. But
No, your buddy.
I am buddy. You're right. But Shane, it just I feel something in me that I've only felt with the select few drivers in the sport. Literally, I'll name them: Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kevin Harvick, Daniel Suarez, Shane Van Gisbergen. They're the only. I mean, I feel that way about a couple other people, but not in like the. It didn't come as natural. I put it like that for a lot of guys, and it did for Shane. And today was just awesome. Like it was cool. I'm sitting there watching it, losing it, dude, losing it. I want to know your perspective of Chicago and watching Shane, and then how how your fandom, I guess, has grown for him since that day.
Yeah, so I started out like everybody else in America, pronouncing his name incorrectly, which of course I've never done on this podcast. Don't bring up that one time.
No. I'm sorry. I do want to point one thing out. You weren't there. This was in Wilkesboro last year. It was a Thursday of Wilkesboro last year. And that was the day they announced Shane Van Gisbergen was running Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all sitting. We had some friends of ours. Funny enough, my friend Jeremy that works for Colleague I was with him, and I had heard of Shane Van Gisbergen, and we're sitting all there having a beer or something, and I go, oh, the V8 supercar driver Shane Van Gisbergen is going to run the Project 91 car, and I looked around, and all of them were like, who the fuck are you talking about? I've never heard of this dude.
I'm pretty sure that's the question I asked you when we got to Chicago. I knew someone was in the 91, but I didn't know who. Yeah. And you said Shane Van Gisbergen, and I was like, hold on, back up real quick. What?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Shout out to me. I pronounced his name right from the start.
Yeah. So anyway, I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to him at the start of the Chicago race. I saw him, he dropped back a little bit, and this was before I was aware that that's part of his MO. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. He's not going to win. Never mind. Yeah. Cause like like you said, we'd been joking about it, but I was like, I was going to keep an eye on him at the start of the race. And if he sort of dropped back, I was like, oh, never mind.
And we've seen this with ringers before, like Jordan Taylor in particular. I think both of us picked him to win COTA last year when he drove the 9 car.
Yeah.
But he got in the race, and it was just like he was taken advantage of, and he wasn't there. And I thought we both thought that was going to happen to Shane.
Yeah.
We didn't know him.
100%. So, of course, we're getting down toward the end of the race, and he pitted with a whole bunch of other guys and wound up 18th, and he wasn't really on my radar for a minute. I was like, okay, so is Justin Haley really going to win this race? I was like, is Austin Dillon going to win this race? And then at some point I realized that group was coming forward only because I was watching Kyle Larson. And
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah. Shane passed Kyle, and I was like, oh my God. Cause
that is when I realized it. Yeah.
Shane passed Kyle for, I think it was like 4th. And I was like, wait a minute. Oh God, and then I think the next time we saw him, he was already on 3rd place's ass, or
he was on Dillon.
Dillon. Yeah. And that was pretty much the moment I went, oh, he's going to win this race.
He passed Kyle Larson, and I was like, he just passed the greatest race car driver in the world. I was like, who is this man? He got on Dillon. I was like, he's going to win this fucking race.
It's definitely the way it felt. So anyway, fast forward, he wins the race. Definitely one of the coolest things I've ever gotten to experience at a racetrack. And fast forward to this year, he's running races, and I'm now going to Xfinity. Look, I used to skip Xfinity races, not because they weren't really good or whatever, but just
Can
because I
confirm.
I could
You
have a
have a
day
dog
off.
in the fight
Well, I didn't have a
either.
dog in the fight, and I wanted a day off. Now, all of a sudden, I am going out of my way to go to Xfinity races. We took an extra, or what am I trying to say here? We made sure to get up to Dover on time so we could go to the Xfinity race so we could watch Shane.
Yeah.
Like, not for any other reason. And then, we got excited about Carson Quapler or whatever, but the real reason was to watch Shane. And like I said, I tweeted this today. I said, I really would, I'm going to paraphrase it. I would really rather not watch the Xfinity race today because Xfinity coverage on Fox, especially when it's remote, is terrible.
Yeah.
But I was like, damn it, I have to because it's Shane Van Gisbergen at a road course. I have no choice but to watch this.
Yeah.
And luckily, Shane didn't, Shane helped me out there. He made it all worth it. But God, y'all don't understand. Maybe y'all don't understand. Watching a Fox broadcast is just brutal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess y'all been watching them, but I don't know how it works. Do y'all not get the commercials or how's this work? I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, a Fox broadcast is brutal, and I guess y'all are figuring that out.
Yeah. Today, just you could see it in his voice too, like that he was relieved that he won this race because it was like I don't think a lot of people question whether he could do it, especially on a road course, but you know he won that one race and he came all the way over there, changed his entire life, gave up running in supercars that he is a champion of, has won damn near 80 races, and, gave up, a chance to win another Bathurst to come to America to do this NASCAR thing. It's a huge leap of faith that he could make this work. And obviously, I'm sure he has plenty of confidence that he can do it, and we're all behind him. But it's got to be a weight off his shoulders to get the win and be like, okay, I can do this. Like I am here.
Well, now he's at a point with playoffs and everything that he can take more risks. Maybe if he felt like it, he gets to the end of a race on an oval or whatever, he can take a risk and try and win a race. Maybe. I think he's going to get there naturally by the time we get to the playoffs. This is pretty much what I said I thought would happen.
Yeah.
I thought he'd get a win, or he'll probably get another one next weekend, or we can hope at least. That'd be awesome. But and then I genuinely think by the time we get to the playoffs, I think he'll be qualifying around 10th on average at ovals, and then he'll probably be pretty close to the front at the end of them and have a decent shot. Because it really, Shane's only issue right now is his reluctance to run the top. I think that's like his only big thing in oval racing right now.
I think he's getting better too, especially
he's definitely
watching him at Charlotte.
Yeah, he's definitely getting better for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Obviously you see the flag behind me. If you listen to this past week's Big Motor Small Blade podcast or watch the rundown from Down Under that we posted clipped from there, that I met Shane Van Gisbergen at Charlotte. So obviously my presence blessed him. I blessed him with my presence and got him the victory. And so that means I was in the presence of Chicago when he won. And then the very next race, Xfinity race, he wins after meeting me. So obviously it's me, right? We'll go with that. There's his autograph.
We're gonna go with it.
It's right there.
It's elegant, isn't it?
It's proof, huh?
That's elegant.
It's very, very elegant. Like I've never seen such good penmanship. Let me tell you, if he wins a race that we're at, you know how many children I'm gonna push over to get to that rugby ball?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So we'll be looking for a new podcast co-host. at some point.
Dude,
But
I love him, man. I love Shane, man. I love him so much.
how cool would it be to catch one of those?
Oh my god, dude.
I'd have to buy
Yeah.
a case for it.
Oh, absolutely. So I texted our buddy Jeremy who works at College Racing, and I asked him. I said, "Hey, man, what's the vibe like?" Because he was in Portland today. He was spotting for Josh. He said, everybody's feeling good. AJ's not happy, but but we're all having a great day. Happy for the team, obviously. Let's see. Just he said overall good points today. He said SVG's sitting in front of him, two seats in front of him on the plane, and he's just they're all feeling good. Getting the monkey off their back.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's like I just said, it's gotta be a relief for Shane. But yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else to say, man. I'm just so happy for him. I'm happy for him. I'm happy in general, man. I'm just I'm just so exciting.
I'm so exciting. Anyway,
Yeah. And
so
yeah, what?
no, you're good.
Oh,
Go on.
I've said it, I say it every week, or at least I try to say it every week. We appreciate you guys. Like, we appreciate everybody that listens to the show a lot, but we see the analytics. We know that, literally we look at it, 50 to 60% of our viewers are you all from New Zealand and Australia, much because of Shane Van Gisbergen, obviously. And we really do appreciate that you guys listen, and that's why, I mean, it makes we love Shane, man. We have adopted him into our NASCAR world, and we probably don't have the fandom, and we probably sound like a bunch of dumb Americans, as someone put it. We know we're the favorite dumb Americans, right? But
Hopefully, right.
yeah, we might not have the knowledge and the wherewithal of who Shane is, how he runs, but we're learning and we're having fun doing it. And we really appreciate all of you that watch and listen and comment, and it's really cool to interact with you guys. And just thank you.
Yep. Thank you,
Yeah.
guys.
But other than that, man, I mean, I think that's all we got.
Yeah. Sounds
Yeah.
like it. This has been the
Well,
rundown
hang
for
on.
Down Under. No.
I do want to I want to plug everything. You guys, if you're listening to this, maybe this is your first time listening to us talk. We do this every week. It's the Big Motor Small Blade podcast. Is obviously that's the namesake of the YouTube channel. We do this every week during the Big Motor Small Blade podcast, the rundown from Down Under. We talk about Shane every single week, and give an update on how his race went, because we know you guys love it and we love it too. Um, and then we also, if you guys are looking to get into more, traditional grassroots stock car racing, we have a late model show called On Tour, part of the covering the Cars Tour, which is owned by Shane's one of Shane's owners, Justin Marks, and Trackhouse Racing. And then we also have an IndyCar podcast IndyCar show / podcast, with
Depends on the week.
yeah, with this man as host, where we talk about IndyCar, obviously. And if you guys are Scott McLaughlin fans, you obviously know where he is right now.
Be sure to check it out.
Yeah, for sure. Just we appreciate all of you. I do want to add this too before we go. We are just under 40 subscribers away from 500. It would mean a lot to get to that point. We never thought we would get that far when we were just a couple slap dicks from North Carolina that were like, we're going to start a podcast, way after it was cool to start a podcast. But
was it ever?
I mean, at some point, yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably.
But we are that close to 500, and if we get to 500, we can start a community tab and we can interact with you guys even more, give you guys updates on what videos are coming, and interact with you guys more as far as what videos you guys want to see, what type of content you guys want to see. So if you're watching this and haven't subscribed, please do that. But yeah, we love you guys. We love Shane Van Gisbergen. He won today. I told Steph earlier, we're gonna drink a lot of beer tonight. That's what's gonna happen. Yeah, I'm happy, man. You happy?
I'm happy.
All right. Well, go Shane, and most importantly, go fuck yourself.